progress I ever made is when we were like consistently shooting indoors, like Vegas spots, 3Ds. Do you think that there's something to that?
Kind of, yeah. You look at pretty much any of the good 3D shooters out there, they can shoot a good indoor game too. Some of them don't do it as much or whatever. You know, I'm a 3D guy, I don't like target, but you look at all the top guys that consistently win, most of them are going to be able to shoot a really good game indoors as well. To me, I tell a lot of guys, you know, especially guys around home and stuff, they like shooting the 3D stuff because they're hunters and they don't care about indoors. That's just target archery. We don't care about that. But to me, that really tells you where your flaws are. Like if you're shooting 20 yards, no wind, no nothing. Like if you missed, you just missed. There's no excuses. You just flat out missed. And so I think that helps people get a lot better rather than like 3D. It's like, oh, I aimed in the wrong spot, or I was a half a yard off, or there was a rock under my foot, or
you don't have nearly a solid aiming point.
Yeah, there's so many excuses for 3D. Where indoors, you either hit it or you miss. Like good.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And that's what I thought too. It's a lot easier to. It's just. I'm much more mindful when I'm shooting a Vegas face because it's like you're saying, I have a spot. I'm going to shoot 3 arrows. I'm going to shoot an end. You've got 10 ends. Everything's kind of set.
Yeah. For me, it messes me up mentally to shoot at spots. Like it wrecks me. Like, I can shoot a 3D animal all day because I know, like, oh, I'm just aiming for a kill spot.
Yeah, so
it's really easy for me where I go to shoot spots. But I think that's
the point. I think that's why you make progress.
Yeah,
because it's harder. I think it's harder to do. I think it takes more focus to be really good at indoor.
Yeah. Well, so what happens is like when you're shooting at a spot, the visual feedback is so fast. Like, oh, I'm not in the middle. Oh, this, and then all of a sudden your brain starts going 100 miles an hour, and then you can just off in the line and miss or whatever. Where 3D, it's not the same because you don't know where you know where you're at, but you don't know exactly. And so it's not like you're coming on and off the middle. So a lot of times people's like will calm down and you can aim and shoot and whatever. But yeah, as soon as you put a spot up in front of you, everything totally changes.
Yeah, you're more comfortable with your float. I feel like on an animal than you are a yellow dot.
You don't have all that feedback of the target. Like a circle on a circle gives you so much feedback that you're trying to override as a shooter. Like you're trying to not worry about wiggling and moving or whatever, but as soon as your sight picture moves off the center of the target, your brain goes into panic mode, like, oh, I don't want to be there, I'm going to be back in the middle, and
then I just slam it.
Just whack it.
Yeah, just punch my hinge. I can do it. I can do it with the best of them.
We whack it.
So there's a fine line between moving stuff too much and moving stuff not enough. And for me, like, you got to know the difference between when it's you and when it's the bow. And a lot of guys will just move stuff so much that they never know like what their regular setup is or what's normal or
what
whatever.
Their default is.
And for me, the default's always that it's me. I'm always like, the bow is a machine, it repeats itself. If something's not hitting the same, it's me. And then it comes to a point where it's like, okay, I know this should be working and it's not, so what's going on? And then I'll start screwing with the bow and I'll find whatever's wrong with the bow and fix that. But the big things for me, like on any bow setup, the only things I really tinker with much are like draw length, loop length, peep height. Are like the most critical things on a bow for me out of everything.
Man, I'm so glad you said that. It's like you
draw, loop, and peep, huh?
Yep. I'm talking like micro, like a 1/16 of an inch in draw length is a big deal.
You feel that?
Yeah. 1/16 is a little bit hard to feel, but you can tell.
Yeah.
1/8 for sure. That's like a pretty big deal for me. But a 1/16 I can feel. And
do you like the 3D circuit, like the ASA?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You do
I
like that?
3D. 3D is probably more fun for me to shoot than indoor and stuff. So I mean, I like going. Like Vegas is kind of a cool atmosphere, that tournament and whatnot. But as far as like the actual shoot itself, yeah, ASA is probably one of my favorites.
And you're on the road a lot, though. You must be, I would assume. All spring and summer.
Pretty much, yeah. Just depends on like the time of year. Like January, I was gone every single week in January, and the first week of February, and then like February, I think I've got an ASA next week, and then March I've got a couple tournaments. It just kind of hit and miss. Like some months we'll have 2, 3, 4 tournaments. Other ones we maybe only have one. But yeah, we're traveling a lot.